Welcome back to another episode of Galawxy. I'm your host, Rakshika Rajesh, and today we're going on a journey beyond the stratosphere as we dive into the intriguing world of space law. You might wonder when laws for space even became a thing. Well, it was during the 20th century space race that an exciting time of competition between nations to explore the cosmos was happening. And the most prominent result of this was the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. And it established three groundbreaking principles. First being is that space belongs to all of us. So that means every single person owns space, which is one of the most remarkable aspects of this whole principle. And the second being is that every nation should be free to explore and use space. So think of space like this vast playground that is open to everyone. And the third principle is that no nation can claim a chunk of space or any celestial body as its own. It's not like planting a flag and calling dibs on the moon, right? No country can point to a star or a planet and say, yo, that's mine. No, it's not, because the universe is not for us to divvy up. So with these three principles, the whole concept of space law took its first leap. So that brings us to a few concepts today. We'll be discussing about space property rights, space debris, what about Mars colonization, the liability of damages, and so forth. So I hope you're ready now for the whole crux of this entire podcast. Because when we talk about space property rights, what could that possibly even mean? Our technological leaps take us deeper into the cosmos, and a lot of fascinating questions arise. Imagine humans start to settle on the moon or Mars. Now, who gets to own that extraterrestrial real estate? While nations can't claim celestial bodies, the Outer Space Treaty doesn't say much about private companies. So if a company sets up a lunar base, do they own that piece of the moon? And this debate is still up in the air, or should I say rather out in space. I mean, that was a really, really good joke, I feel. Space joke. Yes, it's a space joke. It was really good. Anyways, so now since that I've spoken about space property rights, I've popped up that question in your head, and I've also explained to you what the Outer Space Treaty is actually like. What are the backbone of the Outer Space Treaty is what I have explained. So now I've popped this question into your head. If a company sets up a lunar base, do they own that piece of the moon? Right? And this is the problem, because the treaty has a loophole. It doesn't say much on a lot of things. And the thing is that space law is about the future. There are problems to tackle right now, like space debris. With our skies increasingly cluttered with satellites and discarded rockets, the risk of a collision becomes a pressing concern. In fact, the United Nations even issued guidelines, but the problem is they lack, how do I put it? They lack that legal finesse. And how we deal with this celestial clutter remains an open question. Another possibility about colonization and space mining. And the thing is that this is actually going to happen in the not so distant future. We have ambitious companies that are aiming to colonize Mars. When that happens, we encounter a slew of legal challenges. Who gets to govern a Mars colony? How will resources even be distributed? How would conflicts be resolved? In the same vein, mining asteroids for valuable resources brings its own set of legal uncertainties. Who gets the right to mine these celestial bodies? And how do we ensure that such space mining doesn't harm the cosmic environment or trigger conflicts? And the last thing for you to think about is that we encounter the question of accountability. If a country's satellite accidentally crashes into another, the Outer Space Treaty holds that nation responsible. But in a time when private companies are also sending their satellites into space, accountability becomes murky. If a privately owned satellite causes damage, who foots the bill? Is it the company or the country where the company is based? These are things that you must consider if you are looking into space law. There you have it. We've rocketed into a very small portion of the universe of space law. It's a field that is as vast and mysterious as space itself. I mean, there's so many possibilities. We, like, in the future, in the not so distant future, or even in the present, there are just so many possibilities. And with every giant leap for mankind, our legal systems will need to evolve. We've only just started our journey through space law. So stay curious and keep questioning. Join us next time as we continue to traverse the uncharted territories of law on Galawxy. Until then, keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground.